Hello everybody at the Bremer Shakespeare Theatre. It's Simon Slater here, the composer from London on Winter's Tale. So guten Tag, hope you're all very well and healthy. A little video about writing music for Shakespeare that Renata has asked me to do. Winter's Tale, or Wintermärchen, is out there at the moment, but well, not at the moment, because we're all locked down. I'm in London, look, it's all sunny here in London. There we are. And I'm in a little music room, just talking about music and Shakespeare. Sorry it's in English, but that's how I talk. So I've done a lot of music for Shakespeare at the Royal Shakespeare Company in England and the National Theatre and lots of other theatres, and the Globe in London, Shakespeare's Globe is known as. And I just wanted to just tell you why I like it so much. It's a great job writing music for Shakespeare, of all the playwrights I've done, or film or TV, whatever. And the reason I think it is so wonderful is because he is totally universal. Obviously, he writes a lot of lyrics in his plays, in everything from Twelfth Night, As You Like It, Macbeth, Othello, Hamlet, even the tragedies have lyric stuff in it. And Winter's Tale also has lyric music in it as well, which we'll come to at the end. But I'm just going to talk about why it's so universal. I think there's only other two universal playwrights really. Beckett, Samuel Beckett, and he doesn't allow any sound or music in his plays, or the estate doesn't. And probably Chekhov is the other one, but he's so sort of particularly well-made plays. There's not much room, although of course there is a lot of music in his plays. Shakespeare's lyrics are brilliant. And his music has gone over 400 years. Everybody from people like John Dowland or Robert Johnson used to write the original scores for his music at the Globe. Over 400 years, right up to, through people like great English composers like William Walton, Henry V, Vaughan Williams, Mendelssohn, German, obviously, Midsummer Night's Dream, and right up to contemporary composers, even great jazz composers like the great Duke Ellington wrote a score for The Tempest, a jazz suite for Fathom 5. Brilliant. And then even contemporary people like Elvis Costello, well, not that contemporary now, but still moderately. Great British Asian composer Nisman Sawhney. They've all written scores for Shakespeare's lyrics or his plays or his films. And I think they allow such freedom as a composer. There's no, even though they're 400 years old, the lyrics can be anything they want, musically speaking. That's what's so brilliant about him. It can be any period, any style, any environment, any music you care to throw at it, really. Just looking at my notes here. I was going to say, before we get on to Winter's Tale, just to give you an example, years ago, 42 years ago, I went to see a production of Twelfth Night when I was at school. And I was knocked out by it. And I remember it was sort of set in the 1920s in a sort of cabaret type place, a bit sort of Weimar Republic, but obviously a bit later. And one of the songs, as I'm sure we all know, is the wonderful lyric, "When that I was and a little tiny boy, hey ho, the wind and the rain." And I remember the chords, even as a 16, I think, sitting in the audience. And I'm just going to show you how a very traditional, would have been set by John Dowland as a sort of polyphonic melody of its period in the 16th century. But this production I remember being done as a sort of ragtime jazz, and I think, I'm going to embarrass myself, and I think I'm going to play it, if I can. I've got the words. And it went something like this. When that I was a little tiny boy, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, a foolish thing was but a toy, for the rain it raineth every day. Which obviously has a nice sort of 20s, 30s sort of ragtime feel. But that lyrics, to me, sounds just as contemporary and has that wonderful feeling of like a carousel of going round and round. The rain, it raineth every day. And it's like jazz, it keeps moving round and round. I did a production of As You Like It years ago, or 10 years ago, and at the time it was very popular. There's a popular band in England called Mumford and Sons, who are worldwide now, and I was asked to do a score like Mumford and Sons of As You Like It, and there's lots of songs in As You Like It, Under the Greenwood Tree, and there's one very famous one called It Was a Lover and His Lass, with a hey ho and a hey nonny no. And I just to show you how easy his lyrics fit into all sorts of styles. This is 10 years old now, but it went something like this. It was a lover and his lass, with a hey and a ho and a hey nonny no. All the green cornfields did pass in the springtime, the only pretty ring time, when birds do sing, hey ding-a-ding-a-ding, sweet lovers love the spring. Sort of reggae, folky feel. So again, those lyrics still sound, they just fit every style. I've done a couple of contemporary styles, 20th century styles, but that's why he's great to write for. Moving on to Twelfth Night, which you must go and see. It'll be back soon, hopefully, when we are all out of this pandemic. It was great to work with the director, who's German, Patricia, and 4 great German actors, Tim, Simon, Janina, and Marcus and Janine also did the sound. It was a wonderful thing to do because an Englishman came and had to do it, and they all sing in it. There's a lot of songs in Winter's Tale, but we didn't use the songs. We used, again, just to continue the theme of using contemporary stuff in Shakespeare. If you remember in The Tempest, he says, this isle is full of noises, sounds. And he's so conscious of sound, even in Macbeth, talking, the witches, obviously. But sound is such a big thing for him. Oh, I've been sent a text. Excuse me for that. Such a big thing for him, sound. And where he hears the sound that's in his plays, that's not musical, but there is a lot of sound talked about in imagery, in the language. And in Winter's Tale, we've used a lot of rather dark, wintry humming sounds. I mean, when I first went there, I got off the tram at Bremen, and it was Marcus actually was singing this note. There's a low D, which is below, just that kind of note below where most men sing. But Marcus started on this low note, and then we built everything on that note. Just humming drones, and there's microphones in the Winter's Tale too, which is obviously a modern invention, but it's great to use wind sounds and drones and hums. The great thing about using a microphone in a play, with a handheld mics like this, is that you can get very intimate sounds. So when he's going, those tones here resonate beautifully in the theatre. So we used a lot of weird noises like that. In the middle of Winter's Tale, it moves off to Bohemia, which is very sunny and summery, with a lot of rather frisky shepherds. And we used glockenspiels, obviously a German instrument, a lot of tinkling sounds, and we used a tune, which is this. Here comes the sun, dun, dun, dun. That little riff we've used on the glockenspiel, obviously a Beatles song, and we've looped that. They're using loop pedals, so you start off with it going round. Very summery and sweet and very different to the low winter tones. So it's a very different way of treating Shakespeare. It's very filmic, really, with a sort of a soundtrack and ambience, textures, all spinning around the theatre all the time. And the actors are great, so please go and see them. The other thing about Winter's Tale, of course, there's a bear. Exit pursued by a bear, famous line. And there's a lot of vocal work on the bears. So basically, we didn't use the songs, we just used a lot of vocal pulses and hummings and textures, and it's very dark and wintry, except for this summery bit. We also used another lyric from the Beatles, from a song called I Will, and we used a rather haunting melody across my tones. Again, contemporary lyric used across your German translation of 400 years, which works brilliantly, and that's why Shakespeare's so great to write for. Okay, I've gone on enough now, so please go and see the play. They're a great cast, and it's a great theatre, and get well, stay well. Bye-bye.